Hey VC, it's Trevor again, here with another flat, round, and spun. And I know what you're thinking. Trev, 2 days in a row? What is going on here? We can't take it. Anyway, this is actually going to be my first attempt at a contest entry. This is for Randall Nelson's channel. He's doing a contest entitled Let's Travel, where we're supposed to bring up artists, albums, songs, and destinations. I'll go through as he put it, the prompts for this contest. So anyway, I am originally from the Detroit area. I'm from the northern suburbs. I'm not that tough. Just a complete, as I like to call it, a wonder bread town, at least when I grew up there. Not the most culturally diverse area. A place called Clarkston. I'm sure people from the Detroit area know it. The music lovers have been out to a place called Pine Knob, now called DTE, some corporate name. Big amphitheater, outdoor place. I grew up 2 miles north of what we always consider Pine Knob. It's been there since the mid-'70s. Great venue, holds about 17,000 people. I mean, I saw many concerts there. My first one being, my first one my parents dragged me to was Engelbert Humperdinck. Don't ask me why. I think they got free tickets. But the first one that I chose to go to was the Jay Giles Band on the Freeze Frame tour. I was 11 going on 12 years old, and it was awesome. But we'll get on with the show, as they say. So the first prompt is artist from your home area. So since I can't think of anyone actually from Clarkston, we're going to go with Detroit in the general area. And I am going to go with Bob Seger. And now this particular one is called Bob Seger and the Last Herd. That is pretty much his first band. This is this precedes the Bob Seger System, which also precedes Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, the most well-known. This is pretty much his earliest recordings. This came out, I don't know, about 3 years ago or so. 3 years ago, 2018, this collection. These are a collection of a bunch of his singles from back then. Heavy Music was his first track on here, which I believe is also on Live Bullet, which people know. Some great songs on here. East Side Story is awesome. Last year, Alice Cooper did a cover of it, which was pretty awesome. There's just some great stuff. Heavy Music again. What's the other one? Sock It To Me Santa, which sounds like a James Brown song. And the cool thing about this era of Bob Seger and the Last Herd is my dad had a rock band, mid-'60s going into late 60s, out of Pontiac, Michigan, and they would open for the Last Herd a few times. In fact, I think my dad told me at least on a couple occasions they actually had to borrow their PA. So, Bob had to, borrow my dad's PA. Many years later, I was working for a staging lighting company. Nothing major, but we would do like some audio visual stuff, and I got sent out to just do a projector and screen for a silent auction at some country club out in the burbs of Detroit. And so I set up the screen and just showing the items for this auction, and I'm talking to my client, and I noticed behind him is Bob Seger talking to some people. And I'm just staring at him as my client is talking to me. After a few seconds, he realizes I'm just looking past him, and he looks over his shoulder and he's just like, yeah, that's Bob Seger. You want to meet him? I'm like, yes, I do. So he brings Bob over and introduces me to him, and I asked him, I was just like, man, I got to ask you, this is from like the 60s. Do you remember a band out of Pontiac? They were called The Unknowns, and they used to open for you a few times. He's like, no, I can't quite remember that. I'm like, well, my dad was in that band. He was the keyboard saxophone player in there. And he's like, oh, wow. And told him about him borrowing my dad's PA. He's like, oh, really? Well, next time you see your dad or talk to him, tell him I said thanks. And I thought that was really cool. So anyway, that's Bob Seger and The Last Herd. Now, I'm going to do 2 for this next one. Is an album or song about your area, which is Detroit. First one I'm going to do, you're from Detroit and have a song about Detroit. Classic amongst classics, MC5, Kick Out the Jams. And there is a song called Motor City is Burning, which if you know a little bit of history, 67, I want to say, which is supposed to be the Summer of Love, there were major riots going on in downtown Detroit. I'm sure you could Google it and look it up. But yeah, that was pretty much the tipping point of Detroit being a very where people came to Detroit to work and get jobs, and it was very lucrative to be there. And then there was what was known as white flight, everyone hitting out to the suburbs, and then the racial tensions and all that stuff. And yeah, basically the city more or less blew up, and it took a long time, and it's still recovering to this day. Downtown, from what I gather, is much better. I mean, I live out in the suburbs of Seattle now, so, and I go back home every so often, but I don't really hit downtown that much when I go back, so I haven't really seen what downtown is like anymore. Folks from back home, please tell me in the comments how things are. So on a happier note, we're gonna go with another song, which sounds bad, but band not from Detroit, but they made Detroit their second home, and that is what I was saying earlier about my first real concert, the Jay Giles Band, and the song is called Detroit Breakdown. They have a studio version of it a couple albums earlier, but this live album, which was recorded, half of this was recorded at Cobo Arena in Detroit, the other half was in Boston, their hometown. But this, I feel, is the definitive version of Detroit Breakdown. It is such an awesome song, and there are so many awesome songs on this album. I always tell people, if you want to get into the Jay Giles Band, get this album. It is just a barn burner. Absolutely. Look for the song Chimes on this. That's the best song on there. Go stream it. Check it out. So there's that. Then the last prompt is favorite destination or would like to visit. I'm a truck driver, and not that I go over the road, but I have gone over the road. And so, as Johnny Cash said, I've been everywhere, man. Continental, I pretty much been there. There's some cities I would like to spend more time in. You know, New York, I'd like to spend more time in. Los Angeles, I'd like to spend some time in. But I'd like to go a bit further, and there's a song, just in title alone, I don't want to go. Well, I guess I could go to this. I guess there is a museum for this. But song by the Misfits, London Dungeon. I would really like to go to London. I'd like to just go to England altogether. There's many places within England I'd love to go to. Specifically, I'd like to go to Birmingham, the birth of Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, half of Led Zeppelin. And I know I've talked to people in England, or from England, and I say, yeah, I want to go to Birmingham. And they're like, why the hell would you want to go to Birmingham for? I'm like, well, I am from Detroit. I guess it's kind of close to that. And they're like, yeah, I get it. So that's my bucket list, is to go to England. So anyway, that's for Randall's contest entry. Check Randall's channel out. He has an eclectic, that's what I meant to say. Taste in music, it goes all over the place. There's actually a few things that albums that we share in common, which was really cool. But the great thing I like about watching all these different videos is other people's tastes, and trying to learn from it. You know, I worked at a record store for several years in the 90s, and I learned so many things from other people that worked there that I would have never have learned on my own. So that's the great thing about all these video channels within the VC. Just checking out things, and you know, if you got a streaming service, I personally have Apple. You know, you can just check it out, get a taste of it, and if you like it, you get more. So anyhow, please subscribe to Randall's channel, check it out and subscribe to it, and same thing with mine. If you want to, you know, subscribe to mine too, that'd be helpful. A like, a bell, it'd be kind of cool. So anyway, that's my contest entry, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.